Hi guys, what is up? Team Dose Alliance 671 coming at you with a long anticipated update for the Paleozoic frog deck profile. So you guys might have seen my infamous build with including the Winged Dragon of Ra, and yes, that build was solely for fun, but this one is gonna be the competitive build. But might not have seen the last of the that Winged Dragon Raw deck. I'll give you an updated deck profile for that soon as I complete the deck. A lot of decks in the brewer right now, so be prepared for that. But anyways, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get on with the deck profile. You know what to do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can be part of the notification squad. So anyways, guys, following the theme of Naruto, we're gonna be exploring the frog lineup, or the toad lineup, as you will. Swap Frog, 3 copies. For the ones who know this card, we all know that's pretty much the Stratos of the deck. For those who don't know, you send one water type monster to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand. If this is summoned in any way, you send one level 2 or lower aqua type monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can additionally, then the last effect, there's 3 effects. You could return one face-up monster in the field. Face-up monster, it could be any monster. And then if you do, you can additionally normal summon a frog type monster, a frog monster from your hand. And besides himself. And the one you normally go into is Dupe Frog. Now this is the one where it says when it's sent to the field to the graveyard in any way, you can search for one frog type. This is notorious for missing timing, but there are card effects in here that could help with that. I'll show you in a little bit. But basically, if he's destroyed by battle, you could search. And also, if you have like 2 of them on the field, he's pretty much marauding captain. If the opponent's gonna attack a monster, they have to attack this one first, and if you have 2 of these guys out, it's pretty much lock. They can't attack your monsters, and the fact that this deck could bring out negates like totally awesome, that's really strong. My personal favorite one, the Ronin Totem. The only toad in the deck, but he does count as a frog while he's on the field. Fair. Fun fact, Death Frog that is. Maybe I'll rebuild that deck one day, the Death Frog OTK. Anyways, he's pretty much here for the summoning fodder. If he's the Stratos and this one's the Destiny Hero Malicious, you banish one frog type monster from your graveyard, notably these 2, and then you special summon this. Very good monster for Link, and especially Exceed Summon for rank 2s. Then something a little bit different, you guys know me by now. 2 Backjacks. Inspired by my idol, Jack Atlas. So he basically says, if he's sent to the graveyard in any way, you banish, that's the other effect. You look at the top 3 cards of your deck, rearrange them in any order, and put them back on top of your deck. Then during the opponent's turn, you banish this from your graveyard, then you activate the top card of your deck. If it's a normal type trap card, you set to the graveyard, you set it to the field, and you can activate it that turn. So let's say, for example, if you run into Mirror Force on the top of your deck, you set it, and you could activate it. And, we run other traps in here, so we'll get to that. So that's it for the monster lineup. And for the spells, Carded Demise. This allows you to draw until you have 3 cards. But if you have but at your end phase, you discard your entire hand, which is fine. Your opponent cannot take damage this turn. You use this effect. You cannot special summon it. But I think we're all good on that one. They nerfed this card so much from the original anime text, and they still got limited to 1. How good is that, right? Excuse me. Anyways, we're gonna continue with 2 Paw Desires, because they didn't want to bring back Paw to Greed, so they had to make a Paw to Greed of different texts. you simply banish the top 10 cards of your deck from your deck face down, and then you draw 2 cards. They may sound mediocre at first, but for this deck in particular that doesn't really use so many combo pieces, this is actually really good. And you're mostly running traps in here if you haven't noticed yet. So it's pretty much you're good as long as you can search out your frogs. You could even just summon your totally awesome afterwards and activate this, and it doesn't limit you whatsoever. One of the better draw cards even up to this day. Fury of Retribution. This one says you can add 1 torrential tribute from your deck to the graveyard. If your monsters will, then the second effect, while this is in your graveyard, if water-type monsters will be destroyed by card effects, you can banish this card instead. So this pretty much combos with Torrential Tribute. So it searches Torrential Tribute and it protects your water-type monsters from Torrential Tribute. It makes them swim, basically. Funny, right? Okay, so that's it for the spells. Now the juggernaut of the deck is in fact the traps. So to kick off the traps, we run the Paleozoic lineup. Paleozoic Canadia. Pretty much Book of Moon for the opponent's monsters. That's all you have to remember. Then 3 copies of Paleozoic Olenoids. I like the comment. I highly respect comments. Honestly, comments could take a beating. And, well, I love the holos too, but, you know, as long as they're all Yu-Gi-Oh cards, guys, they're all Yu-Gi-Oh cards, we gotta respect that they're comments that help us, budget-friendly Yu-Gi-Oh players. Anyways, Mystical Space Typhoon at the deck. You destroy 1 spawn trap on the field, and yeah, pretty much. This one's pretty much the Karma cut of the deck. Excuse me. Paleozoic Deinonymiscus. The cost actually is to target one, face a card in the field, then on resolution, then you discard your card from your hand. So it's part of the effect to discard your card from your hand. It's not a cost. So it's not very much like Karma Cut, but it's similar. Okay, and then that's it for the Paleozoic lineup. Actually, we only run the best cards. Then for the regular traps, compulsory evacuation device. So the reason why we run a lot of traps is because when a trap card is activated once per chain, you can special summon these cards from your graveyard as normal type monsters, 1,200 attack, 0 defense, I believe. Let me just make sure I'm not misleading you guys. Yeah, 0 defense, and they are unaffected by monster effects, and they're normal type monsters. So they're pretty much like ancient Pokemon, basically, where, like, you know, Pikachu tried to electrocute them and then, you know, try to electrocute Kabutops, but no effect. So it kind of has that cool effect, basically. I know, completely different franchise, but kind of a similar situation. And then, as you might have seen in my TikTok, guys, I'll try to get the link for that one ongoing. I'm still learning how to do this channel, but Infinite Impermanence. This is the reason why this deck was taking so long, and I'm glad this card got reprinted. Very good card in many situations. If you have no cards in your hand, or have no cards in the field, you could activate this from your hand. So this is very hard to stop unless you have like Solvarus or something during the opponent's first turn. So you have some going second place here. This is a very good way of interacting with your opponents. And you can set this card and activate like a regular trap. But does have a bonus if you do choose to do that. Yeah, bonus this time. Who would have thought? So it says if this card was set before activation and is on the field of resolution, for the rest of the turn, all other spells and traps in this column are negated. So whatever column this was in, if it lines up with the columns in the opponent's field, then you negate those as well. So it could potentially negate spells and traps too, which is really cool. Then I'm glad this got reprinted too. I've been hunting for this for a long time. Ice Dragon's Prison is pretty much a combination of Caius, the Shadow Monarch, and Didi Crow. Basically, I believe you target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field. Effects are negated. It won't stick there for long because it says then you could banish one monster from your opponent's from both players' fields to have the same type as each monster. So basically, This is good against dragons. This is good against like monsters with the same ability. As long as you have a spellcaster in the opponent's graveyard, then this could potentially banish Dragoon. But if they have a spellcaster in the graveyard, if you just so happen to have a spellcaster yourself, yeah, on your side of the field. So yeah, this could potentially banish Dragoon. So you just gotta be careful with that setup. 2 copies of Lost Wind. I like it better than Solemn Judgment because it could recur itself. You could combo or Solemn Judgment. I like it better than Solemn Strike because it could reoccur itself when the opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck. And you target one face up monster in the field. Its attack is cut in half. Sorry, I'm so excited for this card. That, and I'm kind of tired, so I do apologize for this, guys. But I'm going on my way to show this deck profile for you guys. So, anyways, please excuse this. Please excuse the tongue twisters. Anyways, it cuts the opponent's monster in half. You target one face-up monster the opponent controls. Target one special summon monster on the field. It doesn't have to be the opponent's monster. My apologies. Effects are negated, and the original attack is halved. And it's permanent. It's truly Lost Wind because they lose their effects for good, unless you Book of Moon the monster or they leave the field and you bring it back somehow. You know it. And then the double T in the morning. This destroys all monsters on the field when the monster is summoned. Simple as that. And that's another way, as long as this is the last thing that happened, the last effect that resolves, and you have Dewfrog on the field, Dewfrog triggers. So it's like Dark Hole on the opponent's turn, basically, which is cool. Then Trap Trick, because you have access to everything except one trap card in here. Basically, I think we all know what this does. Activate, banish one normal trap from the deck, except Trap Trick, and then sell one card the same name directly from the deck. Also, it can be activated this turn. You can only activate one trap card for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, so that's okay, because when you activate this card itself, you can still chain your Paleozoics, and even after you did that, when you activate your one trap card, you still chain these guys. Somehow, they are not an activated effect. They're like a passive effect, but somehow, correct me if I'm wrong, that one trap card that you set of this, you activate it, you could still use their effects to special summon themselves. It's very strange, but from what I'm told, it is true. But anyways, to round off our trap cards, 2 Solemn Judgment. It's pretty much the Lord says no. Pay half your life points, negate any monster summon, any spell, or any trap. It doesn't negate effects, unfortunately, but that's okay. That's what Solemn Strike, that's what Solemn Scolding, that's what Solemn Warning is for. Many other Solemn cards to accompany what Solemn Judgment cannot do, basically. But overall, Solemn Judgment is the best card, in my opinion. It's always live. You don't have to have a certain amount of life points. You just have to pay half the life points you have, which is really cool. That's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get on to the extra deck. Of course, we run 3 copies of the legendary, the man of legend, the totally awesome Jiraiya. I'm just kidding. Naruto fans, sorry. But anyways, this is the main boss. This is arguably better than Dragoon, honestly. Go ahead and fight me for that. But basically, this is your primary negator. It takes 2 Aqua-type monsters to exceed summon this. 2 level 2 Aqua-type monsters, that is. So the first effect to bear in mind, during the standby phase, detach one exceed material from this card. Special summon 1 frog from your deck. And that's important because once per turn during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell and trap or monster effect, you can send 1 Aqua type from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, negate the activation if you do destroy that card. Then you could set that card to your side of the field. So truthfully, I feel this is kind of better than Dragoon because you not only destroy what is negating, you set it. So instead of it gaining 1,000 life points or getting 1,000 attack points like Dragoon, you just take whatever negated. Unfortunately, you could negate Dragoon with this one, but you can't destroy it, so it unfortunately cannot take Dragoon, but that's okay. Also, if this is sent to the graveyard in any way, you return 1 water-type monster to the deck. It can return himself, so it kind of like revives, or it can return like a swap frog or something that comes in handy. Okay, so that's the boss. Cat Shark, because you want to pump up this guy. I think I'll go and save you guys some time, so we could show you guys the main deck, or the side deck, sorry. So this is pretty much to boost up Totally Awesome. That's what he's mainly here for, and he helps with OTK along with another monster. Sky Cavalry Centuria, I think you guys know where I'm going with this one. It returns skies that can't be destroyed, basically, like Dragoon. So there's your anti-Dragoon tech, and he goes into another anti-Dragoon tech pretty soon. So for the Paleozoic lineup, we run Paleozoic, excuse me if I butchered the name, Opabinia. So this one, just like all the other Paleozoics, unaffected by monster effects, so it has that First of the Dragons vibes, which is really cool. You detach one Exceed material from this card, you search one Paleozoic spell trap, Paleozoic trap, only traps, from your deck to the graveyard. And you can activate Paleozoic trap cards from your hand, so he pretty much turns to a Mercury the Destructor, which is really cool as well. Is that all? And you can only use this effective Opabinia once per turn, which is really cool. You have a Mercury of your own, and it's a good going second card, so unaffected by monster effects, so Dragoon can't negate this guy. And then Paleozoic. Okay, let me try to say this name very carefully. It's actually based on the real Paleozoic creatures in paleontology. So Paleozoic Anomalocalis. So this one actually takes only 3 or more level 2 monsters, so it's kind of generic. Unaffected by monster effects, really cool. Once per turn, if a trap card is sent from your spawn trap zone to the graveyard, you could excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a trap card, add it to your hand. So it's kind of like Backjack, but a very light Backjack for the first effect. Then, sorry, that's my turn. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. So if it's not a trap, send it to the graveyard, that is fine. Once per turn during other player's turn, if this card has a trap card as an Exceed material via your Paleozoic monsters, you could, when it becomes monsters, you could detach one Exceed material from this card, then target one card in the field, destroy it. So it's a combination of First of the Dragons, Backjack, and it's a Reggae Key Break, which is really cool, and you can't negate it with like Ash, or not, of course not Ash, but can't negate it with Effect Veiler, but you can negate it with Infinite Impermanence. So this deck for this deck, Infinite Impermanence both helps and it could be used against it. So as long as you're careful with that. Downer Magician, I know you guys know what I'm going through, where I'm heading with this one. It's pretty much main phase 2 overlay into her. Her effect doesn't really matter because you immediately after you overlay into her, you go into Zeus, Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus, Sky Thunder. Anyways, he's literally his name. You can detach 2 Exceed materials from this card, and then you send all other cards in the field to the graveyard. He's really crazy, and this is another card, if I'm not mistaken, that could combo with Dupe Frog. I played test with everyone, and no one corrected me, so I firmly believe this also triggers Dupe Frog. So you have like pseudo dark holes that could help trigger Dupe Frog. So this deck really helps out your Dupe Frog, your Scholar, basically. So a fun fact about Sky Thunder, the way you could summon him is you attack with Totally Awesome. Let's say you have this one on the field still. You normally park this in defense mode. Then you overlay into Downer Magician. Then you overlay into Zeus. Then you overlay into Zeus again. And then normally Opabinia has another material, so don't forget that he could overlay Zeus with Zeus. As long as an Exceed material monster of an Exceed material, as long as an Exceed monster battles this turn, you can use any of your Exceed monsters. It doesn't even have to be the one that he battled with, which is cool. So this is why Zeus is here. He has another effect as well, where once per turn, if another card would be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you could detach one card from your hand, deck, or extra deck to this card as material. So you can actually reload his materials, so don't forget that. That doesn't come up too much, but if it does, you gotta remember that, guys. You gotta remember that. So for the links, which is pretty important. Just generic links. Link Rebo for backjacks, so you could trigger him right away, and he's kind of defensive too. I like that aspect of him. You'll find that I'm not using any of the water type links, but that's just my personal opinion. I want this deck to be as generic as possible for meta reasons. Nightmare Cerebus, basically if Zeus is being used against you, they would almost never expect this one. You just link you right away. If they just let two monsters go, link right away, go into Cerebus, shoot it. They could blow up your field, that's fine, but they'll have no field either, which is cool. Then the opposite of Nightmare Cerebus, Nightmare Phoenix for spell and trap removal by discarding one card from your hand. You guys know what this does by now. Nightmare Unicorn, pretty much a combination of these two. 2+ link monsters, discard one card from your hand when he's link summoned, then you shuffle one card and field to the deck, back to the deck. So kind of a combination of those two, but instead of destroying any card, it just shuffles it back to the deck. Unfortunately targets, so it's not anti-dragoon, but this one is. I ran one copy of Borosaur Dragon. I just want to mess with you guys. I wish I have access to Code Talker, but I'm on board with a few budget-friendly players. I cannot afford access to Code Talker, so I may not be. So just for you guys, I'm not like the other YouTubers that say, "Oh, I have access to Code Talker." I know you can't afford it right now, but you should run Master Code Talker. But for now, you can run Borosaur Dragon if you want. But I'm on the same board, guys. I don't mean to make fun of any of the YouTubers. You guys are my role models, my heroes, but I'm just on the same boat as the budget players. I can only afford Borosaur Dragon, and honestly, I lost a lot of games to him. He's arguably a little bit better than Access Code Talker because he's a little bit more unpredictable to me. So yeah, that'll be it for the extra deck. Also, he's anti-dragoon for obvious reasons. That'll be it for the extra deck. Side deck, I could just skim through it really quick. Almost running out of time. I try to make this video about like 30 minutes for you guys, so I don't take too much of your time with me rambling about. Okay, so really quick, Barrier Statue Torrent. You know why? I only side him when I'm going first for sure, so I don't look at him awkwardly if I have to go second. The opponent like Bula, they're bored already. Then Gamseel, most definitely when I'm going second, so I could just slam this on Dragoon on Zeus, and it's really cool when I do. Nibiru the Primal Being, most definitely going second, I side into him. Called by the Grave, when going first, because hand traps still get annoying in here. So yeah, that one Called by the Grave helps. Harpy's Feather Duster, for obvious reasons, when you're going second and you just want to blow up your board as well. Lightning Storm, for going second, yeah, and just get rid of spells and traps, bone controls, and attack position monsters. Really good tech. Here's the Imperial Order, guys, if you're sorry, just kidding. Here's the Imperial Order, guys, when if you're looking for that. So there's your spell negate, most definitely when going first. Not every deck is focused on spells, so I don't main it, and sometimes it slows me down too because I run Fury and Pot of Desires. So I try to side this when I'm going first for sure. And then also I don't want to look at this awkwardly when I'm going second and they already activated all of their spells basically. So goes in match for what is it called? It could work against Dragon Links because he has so many different attributes like light and wind and dark, but you just have to be careful. And then what I know for sure works is Rivalry of the Warlords for your anti-Dragoon tech. So when you know the opponent's running Dragoon, you just flip this card up. And then once they bring out the Anaconda, you just flip it up and they're like, oh crap, I can't summon Dragoon because Anaconda is a plant and Dragoon's a spellcaster. So this is anti-Dragoon. Sorry, bad word. Sorry, YouTube. I'm not sure if I could say that. I'm still new, guys. So anyways, this is the lineup, guys. The only hand trap I run him here is, in fact, Nibiru and Infinite Impermanence. The only reason why I'm not running Ash is because I'm trying to find rune for him. Maybe I'll just take out Gozen Match and put in Ash. What do you guys think? I'm open for any suggestions. especially from my past deck profiles. I mean, I know you guys don't like Six Samurai running Dragoon, but I respect your opinion and I acknowledge your advice, and I'll see what I could do. Maybe I'll give you guys a pure Six Samurai deck profile, or maybe another FTK version of I almost gave it away. Another FTK version of Six Samurai. But anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you can be part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys. This is my ninja way.